And quick shot for game 5.
Thank you very much, guys. Let's head into our final game of the day as Fnatic take on the Super Hot Crew. Super Hot Crew are looking to take second place and get a crucial first round bye in the playoffs, but they'll have to win every single game this week and have some help from Fnatic to get there.
Right now, we really want to challenge that second place, so we need Fnatic to lose, and then we have to beat pretty much everyone, I think, or 2 out of 3 games. So we can go for second, or we're going to try hard and get third. But right now, we're looking for Fnatic's spot, so yeah, we're going for the second place.
Well, if there was ever a place to prove that you want that spot, now is it?
Yes, especially with Millennium, SK, and Roccat no longer being in contention for second. It all hinges on this match for the crew.
Well, this match is another potential shot for the Super Hot Crew to make that top 2. And Fnatic, of course, wants to defend that spot. A win right here would lock up the second place for Fnatic, so keep that one in mind. Super Hot Crew are actually ahead 2-1 right now in their head-to-head ratio, and a win for them could be the difference between that second place spot that they're chasing and a third place spot in the playoffs. Early today, though, Fnatic managed to secure a win against the Wolves in a pretty exciting game, to be honest, but Fnatic never really looked like they were under too much pressure in that game, even though it took a while for them to finish.
Yeah, I think it took a long time for Fnatic to close the game out, but they were never at risk of losing the game, I feel. Even in those base trade scenarios. They ran Rengar and Fizz into the Wolves earlier today, and they managed to punish the positional mistakes from the Wolves and find the picks they needed in order to win the game. Pekka in particular, going 13, 4, and 5 as Fizz was a phenomenal performance. And if he gets something like Ari or Fizz or another assassin, he could do the same to the crew.
Well, at this point, the Super Hot Crew absolutely have to win this game. Can't say it enough because that is the story about this one. If Fnatic beats them, they can no longer catch up to them. And the Super Hot Crew would then drop into that fight for third, which is beginning to look like, in typical European style, could be a possible tie between the crew, SK Gaming, and Millennium.
Lovely. Now, I've made predictions today that have all been wrong. I'm going to try to do one more. The Super Hot Crew are my dark horse team for playoffs. They're only a few games off Fnatic's semi-final position. Impaler said in the pre-match video they're aiming for it. And in order to make that more likely, they need to play confidently against Fnatic. The players that need to deliver will be Mima and Selfie, both of whom went massive last week. Now, Selfie in particular, his Ari games were great. Mima went back to Shyvana, unkilled in both of those matches, as well as having very good positional play with his teleports.
Definitely going to be a good game, so let's have a look at the starters for this one. On the blue side today is Fnatic, with Soaz in the top lane, Cyanide in the jungle, Xpeke in the mid lane, Reckless the AD carry, and Yellow Star on support.
We'll see if they can get another win on the first day of Super Week against the Super Hot Crew, who are on the red side, with Mima in the top lane, Impaler in the jungle, Selfie in the mid lane, Mr. R's AD carry, and Kasing as the support.
And for our featured matchup of the day, we're taking a look at the top laners, Soaz and Mima. Now, this is the highly regarded best top laner in Europe versus the statistically best top laner in Europe right now.
Okay, so 2 things. Mima actually has the highest KDA, the highest GPM, as well as having some of the best stats in terms of everything. He doesn't die often, he always plays solidly, and he does so quite quietly. You seldom notice his performances. On the other side of the coin, Soaz is a bit more flamboyant. He plays a large number of champions. He mixes things up a lot more. Think of Ziggs top lane. Think of the Lee Sin top lane. Lulu earlier today. This is a different style between AP top laner and tank top laner. And we need to see which style will be more impactful. If Super Hot Crew can force Fnatic into fights, Mima may be more effective if he's on the likes of Shyvana or Dr. Mundo.
Well, before we get into Champion Select, let's see which team you guys picked to win. According to LOLesports.com, 83% of you think that Fnatic are going to come out on top. And we're in our final Super Week, so why change the trend? Fnatic have been fan favorites all the way through.
Yeah, and they're definitely playing very well. They can't afford to play as reserved against Super Hot Crew like they did earlier against the Wolves. I feel the Super Hot Crew may be able to punish Fnatic more than the Wolves could earlier today. And I also wonder if Ari is going to make it through picks and bans. Selfie played a great Ari last week, pushed the side lanes, found the targets he needed to. Fizz could be a champion you run into. It's something we have seen in the past. But it's also something that I think this game is going to be about those mid lane bans. Cyanide and Rengar, the vote's still out. I think he did okay. but it was not exactly game-changing in my opinion.
Well, let's see, shall we, as we are into the bans, as Yasuo, Twisted Fate, and Kassadin have all been banned out here by Fnatic and the Super Hot Crew. That trend will continue as Syndra is removed from the Super Hot Crew side, and, well, with 4 mid lane bans already, you just expect that may just keep going. Rengar, though, will be taken out this time by Fnatic. We've seen Impaler running the Rengar before.
And if memory serves, Impaler is 2-0 on that Rengar. He has played particularly well in the mid game, roaming around and finding the targets that he wants to. But those assassins that we talked about for the mid lane are both still up and available. And I can't wait to see who's going to call the opponent's bluff. Don't forget that Orianna is still up, and generally if you want to play it safe and not run a risky champ, you may see these guys falling back onto the likes of Orianna as well. With the Gragas being banned out, maybe Nidalee top lane, maybe Mundo, maybe Shyvana, Lulu's still up. There's a lot of priority picks for both of these teams, and whoever can counter their opponents better may have a very strong advantage in the early game.
I'm still kind of fixated on Ahri here. If we look back to Selfie last week, 10 kills in game 1, 7 in the second game, died only twice, got a whole host of assists as well. That surely will feature in this game here today. However, we already talked about Mima, how he likes a big, beefy champion in that top lane. Shyvana, of course, fits the bill.
If he locks this in, he's unkilled in the last 2 games, maybe looking to make it number 3. I also want to highlight the fact that I like what the Copenhagen Wolves did earlier today against Yellowstar and Fnatic. They actually banned Thresh away. Now, Thresh is still up and available if Yellowstar wants to run that, but having seen the hover on Morgana, Fnatic also have the potential to steal that one away. If you know your opponents are potentially interested in that champion, and it can fit the comp that you're putting together, you know, it's a bonus point. So Fnatic taking their time, and that's deep in thought for Cyanide and Peke. They're really taking their time with what they want to lock in next.
Well, Cyanide already has his champion. Evelyn in there for him already is the first pick from Fnatic's side. But as you mentioned there, very concentrated faces from Fnatic. Sometimes we see him laughing and joking as we get into champion select, but not today. Serious business.
Support and AD carry would be the smart choice. It allows you to counterpick your top lane and your mid lane and round out the rest of your composition. Fnatic have got a strong flank with Evelyn. They've got relatively strong disengage with Morgana. If anyone jumps on once Shyvana at least dive in there, Soul Shackles is very effective at keeping Reckless alive for a period of time. But if Super Hot Crew run an assassin in the mid lane, then they're going to need to find a way to deal with that as well. There's no strong, tanky front line yet for Fnatic. But if they want to run a Protect the Cogmore comp, you could see a Lulu and Orianna, and that could be how you round out Fnatic's team composition.
Well, let's find out. The Super Hot Crew are the next 2 picks in this one, currently hovering over the Tristana. And now a Nami possibly for Kasing. If you look at his games last week, played Thresh and played Morgana. Morgana, of course, is already taken away this match. Will go into the hands of Yellowstar. Looks like it could possibly be the Nami, and a quick last-second switch there. They're going to go with Nami Twitch.
So I actually like the switch. And the reason I like the switch, you've got an immobile Cogmore. You've got Evelyn that's going to be one to flanking, and Morgana is not really going to have a lot of use for Black Shield against the Twitch. If Super Hot Crew play the pick game fairly effectively and run an assassin in the mid lane, you can see Twitch Elise roaming around the map to help out what may be an Ahri, what may be a Fizz, depending on what Selfie wants to run, and you've got the makings of a very strong single target kill composition here for Super Hot Crew. But it is also very reliant on finding those kills. If Super Hot Crew do not get Twitch and Nami somewhat ahead, they're not going to be able to stand toe-to-toe in this mid to late game as the fights continue to progress. But I like seeing Kasing on Nami in London a few weeks ago. He had some fantastic tidal waves and bubbles, and he's definitely one of the stronger Nami players here in Europe.
So for Fnatic, then their final 2 choices, looking for a top and a mid laner. They pick Lulu for Soaz and Xerath in there for Peke, of course. Wouldn't be the first time that we've seen them kind of swap around the expected pick somewhat. May as well depend on what is going to be picked up here as the final choice for the Super Hot Crew. They've hovered over Zillion a couple of times, a champion, which of course has come into favor, but you have to feel that Orianna is an outstanding all-round choice for them.
Orianna or Ahri, I think, would be the picks here for the Super Hot Crew. We'll get to that in a second. I think Fnatic, they are going to struggle if they do not control Mima. because they don't have a super solid front line, and they're going to be relying on Dark Bindings, on Glitter Lancers to protect both Cyanide and Yellowstar, who are immobile carries. If they plant themselves down and start throwing out Rite of the Arcane and Bio-Arcane Barrage, but get flanked by Mima, Impaler, or Mr. Rals, they are both going to just get insta-gibbed. Especially if Mima dives in with Dragon's Descent and catches a 2 or 3 man Shockwave. So for Fnatic, it's very important, the positioning and the poke damage, to keep Super Hot Crew at arm's length. The moment Super Hot Crew break through that protection that Fnatic have in terms of the CC, their team comp is going to be much better at straight up 5v5s. So it also makes me think Fnatic may try to dance around the map and avoid team fights, much like they did against the Wolves. They focused towers, they focused on roaming and rotating, as opposed to straight up kills. So it's going to be very important for Super Crew, I feel, to get Mima into a position where he can dive that back line.
Well, fantastic game surely coming our way in this one. Peke running the Xerath in the mid lane. A Lulu again for Soaz in the top lane. And while we're on the topic of the top lane, we want to know which top lane you guys think will come out ahead in this match. Tweet hashtag FNC Soaz or hashtag SHC Mima to @LOL Esports. And we'll see who you guys think have the edge in just a moment.
And they're both on their signature champions. Soaz is playing Lulu and Mima is playing Shyvana. In terms of the summer split, it has been their go-to champions. It's their most played. It's arguably their most successful. And I definitely think there's actually more pressure on Mima to get ahead so he can help his teamfight comp stay relevant. Because if he's not up there diving into the back line, I feel like the long range and the damage that Fnatic has should potentially be able to keep everybody back. But again, it's going to be an interesting game. There's a difference in comps.
Well, guys, don't forget the overriding story in this game. The Super Hot Crew have to win if they're to challenge Fnatic for that second position. Fnatic win this one, they are guaranteed that top 2 finish. And, of course, that comes with it then the bye into the semi-finals. We're going to find out here who comes out ahead as Fnatic take on the Super Hot Crew in our final LCS game of the day.
There's another underlying story we need to keep our eyes on, Joe.
I like stories. Go ahead.
Rekkles and Mr. Rals are two of, if not, the 2 best AD carries in the European LCS. And when Striker Lucian came out, Rekkles was particularly frustrated that Mr. Rals got to wear it first in the LCS. Now, the reason I set that up and talk about some of the histories, Rekkles is going for a couple of records. Lowest kills in a split as well as most, lowest deaths in a split as well as most kills. With Mr. Rals playing Twitch, he could potentially look to punish Rekkles, which would be a great strat to not only beating Fnatic, but also busting his dreams of setting new LCS records.
Most kills and least deaths. That's the 2, I think, biggest records side by side that you'd want to be pulling out, especially as an AD carry. And look at Fnatic, not worried here, going for their signature move of getting these very deep wards out into the lanes earlier on so that you can see exactly where the Super Hot Crew are going to be sending their team.
And in Fnatic style, if they go for the lane swap, expect a 3.5 to 4.5 minute tower dive. Cyanide and Evelyn, Cyanide and many junglers, has set that up multiple times, especially when Rekkles has got that hyper carry. It worked in the previous matchup where Millennia managed to punish Freddy and get themselves a kill, but it didn't translate to any more control. So we'll see how these lanes set themselves up. It does look like Soaz has instantly thrown himself towards that bottom lane, but it's a mirror in terms of vision. Both teams will have the information to work with, and you can see Mr. Rals and Kasing have actually started recalling, so they've decided to go for the lane swap as well.
Yep, going to be heading away there. Went straight towards the top side of the map. They see that Yellowstar and Rekkles are heading up top, so they're just going to go off and go down bottom. Meanwhile, both top laners have helped their junglers on their red buff starts here, and they will be crossing over at pretty equal times as well. So that leaves Rekkles again. We've seen it so many times here in 2 versus 1 scenarios up top, and we also have to say that a lot of teams, I mean, they've seen that happening time and time again and fallen prey to having that one single man up top, not giving him the backup, and Fnatic just piling on in for the first kills.
Yeah, this time around, because Mima's gone for that buddy system, it may reduce the risk of that. We need to see how quickly Mima returns to that top lane, because Cyanide is now moving up to his red buff. There is actually a ward, so Super Hot Crew are going to see Cyanide moving around if he pulls the buff into the jungle. Actually, I'm lying to you entirely because Evelyn is, of course, stealthed, so they won't be aware of that just yet. But the question is now, what does Cyanide do? There's no target to tower dive in the top lane. Mima and Impaler are still doing the buddy system, and we just need to see CS. Mr. Rolls falling slightly behind, but he does have a wave and a half in front of him to work with.
Yeah, we'll see how much SOAS can do on that bottom side. This mid lane though, Xerath for Peke, big range champion. We've seen him, well, we've seen in this game a lot of bans focused onto that mid lane as well. And look at this, as if by magic, Cyanide is coming to the top side of the map. Actually, they'll have seen that ward going down because of the minion wave that was right on top of it. Was actually just pinged, and the duo is, or not, sorry, not the duo, it's the support and the top laner that are coming in top.
Yeah, so Mima has pulled into lane, and I think he's trying to play bait because Impaler and Kasing are very, very close. So the question is, how effectively can Mima pull them? He's been jumped on.
He's been jumped on. They might have to get in here a little bit quicker, although Reckless has taken a turret hit as well. We see Cyanide flashing away very early there from Impaler, and that is the counter to the move that we've been talking about in these first 3 minutes.
We knew Fnatic was going to tower dive. Super Hot Crew knew that Fnatic was looking for the tower dive, and not only did they fend off the tower, protect the wave, and keep Mima alive, but they got Cyanide's flash as well. That was very, very smart play. In terms of the lane swap, Mr. Rolls was always going to be fairly comfortable against SOAS in the low levels, so Kasing did not need to babysit Mr. Rolls. And just very smart play from Super Hot Crew. That's just a predictable Fnatic. And we need to see if Super Hot Crew can punish that flash. In the Fnatic versus Alliance game, where there was not a lot of action, it was the flash timers that made the game slow down so much. And the reason I highlight that is when Super Hot Crew played against Alliance, they set the record for the longest period of time before First Blood was secured. It was around 27 or 28 minutes. Let's see if these teams are going to go for that style of strategic play, Joe.
I remember that game well, for the fondest memory of that new record set for the longest time until we saw the First Blood. Don't think we're going to see it here today. It's certainly not that long, at least as Impaler and SOAS just going to butt heads there, but the Cocoon was sidestepped, so no real problem there for SOAS. We also see that Mr. Rolls is now headed up top as the duo from Fnatic try and outposition them and head down bottom. Again into that 2 versus 1 scenario. I'm interested now to see whether Fnatic try again and fall back into this pattern and say, okay, they've foiled us once, but can they keep foiling us when it comes to that plan?
I think it's possible. You know, I think it was Fnatic that initiated this secondary swap, and we'll get to that in a second. SOAS is about to get caught by Cocoon and Kasing.
Oh, face checking in there. There's not going to be too much damage, though. We'll see if he can actually get away, and, well, he'll just simply walk on out from that selfie. And Cyanide actually coming in there. Cyanide from the backside. Yellow Star will be there. It's all about whether the binding can land it. Flash away from it. Kasing with a great flash as well over. And yes, he's burnt summoner spells. No kills, though. Fnatic using those summoner spells down in the low HP to go for Dragon.
Very, very smart. Fnatic, because of the lane swap, have now opened up the objective. There's no one from Super Hot Crew that can challenge. It does look like Mr. Rolls is trying to push out that top wave, but I doubt he's got the damage to take the tower down. So Fnatic, with the first big objective of the game, can accelerate to a 1,300 gold lead. There is also one other record that we need to track over the week. Yellow Star is 54 assists away from hitting 1,000 regular season assists. And when you consider he was an 80 carry for 1.5 splits last year and transitioned to support towards the end of the year, you have to give a lot of credit to Yellow Star for having some great stats. I believe he was third out of 4, or in third out of all LCS players across both regions.
Done fantastic with that, that's for sure. And continually impressed us, I think, after that switch from AD carry into the support role. We were unsure, I think the world was unsure how Yellow Star was going to cope with that role, but I think we can safely say taking it like a boss. There is the vote that you guys have put in between SOAS and Mima. 71% favoring SOAS as Lulu over Mima's Shyvana. And right now, it is SOAS that's leading out, at least in terms of CS.
Well, Super Hot Crew's top lane fans were miming their votes in. Obviously, Twitter can't track those. But not surprisingly, SOAS doing, once again, great in the popularity poll. He's gone for the triple Dorans, which is something he does very frequently when he plays Lulu, and the question is, where does he go next? Does he want to go Morella Nomicon just for the cheaper MR and getting the ability to have a power spike earlier? But there is a fair amount of magic damage from Impaler and from Selfie, so options available to SOAS. He had a small CS advantage over Mima, but since the lanes have sort of settled down, Mima has made the ground back up. And Super Hot Crew are just going to be a little careful. They're already falling behind in global gold and objectives. So Fnatic, we'll see if they can accelerate.
Well, Cyanide has finally spotted out that pink ward on the corner of the red buff. Kasing actually thought he was going to come and try and stop him from doing that. Impaler was even headed over that side of the map. And Yellow Star just saunters on in towards the blue buff. Will actually stick a ward over the wall. That's all been spotted there by the Super Hot crew. Cyanide is actually backing away onto his own blue buff, which we can see there Peke coming along to take.
So there's a few things that Fnatic are doing well, considering their team comp. If they go into slightly smaller skirmishes in the early stages of the game, they should have the advantage, not only from the champions they have, but from a psychological advantage as well. In order for Super Hot crew to go aggressive, they need to be fairly confident that Cyanide is not there to potentially counter-gank. So that dissuades a lot of potential engages or potential all-ins, because you never know if Cyanide is truly just sitting in a jungle bush right next to you. And you can see with the numbers in the bottom lane, Cyanide's moved his way back up, but he hasn't walked over a pink ward yet. So Super Hot crew have got 3 members just to secure their own blue buff on the threat that Cyanide's nearby. And you can't discount the pressure that applies.
Well, you have to feel that Yellow Star, well, now it's obvious because Cyanide pops out. Oh, they've landed the binding. There's the ultimate. Oh, wow, and from max range, Peke going to pick up the first blood in this one. Steals away the blue buff as well. And that is a start and a half for Peke.
All of that thanks to a perfect dark binding. Yellow Star connects with a 2.5 second route, and Peke unloads everything to secure the kill. Impaler had flash available, but didn't dodge the flash, got caught by surprise. And first blood secured to Fnatic. Not only that, they took the blue buff away as well. So Selfie is going to be in a more difficult position in that mid lane, and Fnatic just claw slightly further ahead. Super Hot crew cannot hemorrhage control, because if they fall too far behind in terms of gold, they're not going to be able to team fight and stand toe-to-toe with the damage Fnatic will eventually be building up. So it is a fine line to cross, where Super Hot crew have to stay even until they're powerful enough to team fight, and then force Fnatic to team fight.
And speaking of trying to stay even, if we look down some of the CS there, head for Selfie over Peke. Same scenario for Mr. Rawls, however low that may be, but now there's 2 men right on top of him. We are going to have Elise coming around the corner, but I'm not sure they can actually save Mr. Rawls. And you see Impaler walks away, and that was all too easy. And you see Mr. Rawls there just scratching his head, and that's the danger when you're left alone. Your AD carries, especially against the Widowmaker, an unseen threat that is Evelyn walking into the lane.
If you've looked at Super Hot crew's vision, a lot of the pink wards have been defensive on their side of the river. The blue pings that have just come down from Fnatic is the first time that Super Hot crew have sort of actively put pink wards down in Fnatic's jungle. There's a few vision strategies that you can do against Evelyn. You either ward aggressively and deep on the jungle buffs to ensure that when Evelyn is doing the camps, you have some timing and some positioning, or alternatively, we'll see, get to that in a second, as Fnatic almost get a tower.
Oh, they're actually going to go aggressive on this one. Kasing flashes to try and get the bubble down, and Yellow Star instantly flashing away as well. So both supports actually will be left without the safety of that summoner spell. We'll see how that sets them up for future ganks, and where the junglers, or if the junglers maybe more importantly, you're going to be paying attention to try and get some easy kills on those support players.
Especially on Cyanide, because of the fact that he can roam. And to finish the point, if Super Hot crew had been warding Fnatic's buffs, it would give you timing and positioning on Cyanide to allow you to overextend. But because they weren't doing that, Mr. Rolls was just overconfident. He didn't have the vision to be where he was. Yellow Star's coming from the back. He has a teleport. Super Hot crew in trouble.
They were pinging a lot. There's the black shield down. Kasing is going to take one for the team here. We see that his teammate Mima just running away and saying, I'm sorry, I can't do anything about that one. Good TP from Soaz allows them to get not just the kill, but that tower is going to go down as well.
Yes, and with 10 seconds on Dragon, the teleport means Soaz is in perfect position for another objective. The reason Fnatic committed to just that kill, it does allow them to grab a larger gold swing. Reckless also secures it. Soul Shackles is still available for Yellow Star if another fight were to break out.
And the TP from Mima is not available, although he was down that bottom side, but was the only one from the Super Hot crew there. So they get themselves the kill, the Dragon, and the tower down on that bottom side. They lose their top tower for the pleasure, though. Mr. Rawls will take that one. Middle was pushed slightly by Selfie. Not too much damage coming onto it, though.
Definitely a worthwhile trade. With Fnatic taking out that bottom tower, look at the vision that they've got when they made that play. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 wards around that Dragon and bottom lane area. One of them just timed out. Fnatic had so much information to work with that it was never a risky play for them. And they're just timing the objectives very, very effectively. So with the 4,000 gold lead Fnatic have at 13 minutes, they can continue to just look for opportunities in towers and then find picks. Soaz did go for the Morellonomicon, so he's looking for an early power spike, looking to roam, get the CDR, get the mana regen, and take use of the Glitter Lancers, take use of the wild growths. We should be seeing Fnatic making similar plays for the red or the blue buffs, depending on where they have the number advantage.
Kill off the heals possibly from Kasing as well, that may just save one person when it comes to those crucial fights. Blue buff's going to be given over to Xpeke here as well, who's... or not, yeah. It was supposed to be given over, in theory, to Xpeke. Whatever.
Scumbag Cyanide.
Well, apparently he needed it, and that's why he's taking. He's going to go to this top lane. We'll see if they go for the dive on this one. Impaler's there. It's 3-on-2. Mima is already decently tanky there. I say that, but Reckless just shredding through him there with a Phage and a Zeal, double Doran's Blade, and the Berserker Greaves. And this turret might be in trouble again, especially since Cyanide's there waiting. Peke started to move up. Cyanide continues to wait around. They have to be careful there, because now Peke's coming up. He's in range for his ultimate, and as soon as this tower goes down, they're surely going to collapse into it. There is a tower going down, and here comes the rest of the damage out of them. Mime already at less than half HP, flashes away, ulti coming out from Peke, not quite got the range to hit Impaler, but they get the tower, and they get the kill.
Fnatic are forcing objectives because they have the power advantage. They've got the numbers advantage, and they are forcing Super Hot Crew to react. I actually think Impaler did a pretty good job. He was at the top tower the moment Fnatic were there to pressure, but he didn't anticipate all of the support that Fnatic had. That was effectively a 4-on-2 situation, because Peke with Xerath from range was directly impacting that fight. So Super Hot Crew continued to fall further behind. We do see Selfie getting his blue buff, but he's getting run down. Cyanide wants blood.
Gonna come around from the side. Let's see if he's got the damage to hold him off. Impaler was there. In fact, Peke even blasting him from the mid lane as well, and continuing with that range. There's a good Dark Binding landing. Tower, though, will be protected at least for now. Peke steps forward once again. Couldn't quite land another shot onto them, but you can be sure that this middle turret now, the final outer turret left standing on the Super Hot Crew side of the map, is the next target. Reckless has now joined in. This turret's going down.
Yeah, it won't be standing long. Super Hot Crew can't stand toe-to-toe. We talked about how in order for Fnatic's comp to work, they need to keep the Super Hot Crew at arm's length. They can actually do better than that. They can do it at Arcano Pulse length, because Peke is landing all of his skill shots. And because of the long range of Dark Binding, Super Hot Crew need to dodge all of these skill shots all day long. If one Glitter Lancer Void Ooze lands, it instantly allows the rest of Fnatic to set up the damage. So look from the side lane. Kasing could Tidal Wave if they want to engage, and he does.
Well, he gets the Tidal Wave through and only hitting Yellowstar. The binding from Yellowstar, by the way, was absolutely amazing. They actually just pinged there thinking that Selfie was going to loop around the back of them. Super Hot Crew hold on to that turret for now. Took the ulti really out of Kasing there to scare them off, though.
There's very little that Super Hot Crew can do without punishing Fnatic to be out of position. And we need to see, oh, Fnatic have gone the Death Bush. Mima's going to die. Yeah,
he's gone a little bit too far out of range of his teammate here, and they tried to get the bubble in for help. Actually, a flash from Mr. Rolls. That binding was coming well and truly right into his face. Selfie had pinged a lot onto this middle outer turret. Reckless and Peke even in range to defend that one without it, again, losing too much health.
So there's 2 minutes before Dragon is up, and there's a lot of money in Fnatic's back pockets. 1,500 for Soaz, 1,800 for Peke. I would expect them to purchase in the next few minutes and then set themselves up for another Dragon fight. Notice Cyanide, he's also going a damage build. Hex Drink as his next item. Fnatic are all about punishing Super Hot Crew in this mid game. They've built up a strong lead. They're buying items that give their mid game more power. And it looks like Reckless may even be building himself a Ghost Blade, which would further signify this goal. Unless that's, of course, just going to be the Bilgewater Cutlass and go Blade of the Rune King standard. But either way, Fnatic are just looking to go further and further ahead in this mid-game and end as decisively as SK Gaming did in the previous match.
Oh, Selfie in trouble from this one. He's got his Shockwave available. He only catches Reckless with hardly any damage, and Reckless will get his second kill of the game. And just out of position. You see there those player cams showing the story from the Super Hot Crew. It looks to me like they're feeling quite helpless in this match.
That was a meh wave, if ever we've seen one. There's just no ability power on Selfie. He's got an Athene's and Holy Grail and Sorcerer's Shoes. And I think he's just recently picked up a Blasting One in Void Style, Blasting One in Amp Tome. There's just not enough damage to threaten Fnatic. And 20 seconds on Dragon, Fnatic siege up. This is something that I like seeing, using your ultimates to ensure the objective. It forces Super Hot Crew low, they can't stick around, they can't contest, and if they even consider engaging, they'll just get destroyed by Reckless on Kog'Maw. While Fnatic are in the mid lane, Soaz is pushing top lane, he's got teleport available. Gonna be a sad song there for Kasing, as Fnatic should secure another safe Dragon.
Yeah, Dragon not going to be a problem for them. That's the problem that the Super Hot Crew really have, that when they've fallen behind, how do you stop specifically Xerath and Kog'Maw just hammering you at the back of the turret that you're trying to defend when you're not level on them with items? We see there Dragon number 3 of the game going Fnatic's way, and they're closing in here on a 10,000 gold lead. We're only 1850 into this game. The Super Hot Crew can see bunching up this entire time, making sure that not one of them gets caught out, because they're all in danger of being 1v1 by pretty much anyone on the team.
Yeah, Super Hot Crew's team comp relied on them being able to team fight. Their skirmish power and their pick power was there in theory if they could dictate the tempo of the game. Twitch is only good at assassinating your enemies when he is the one roaming and he is the one deciding when fights happen. And when your Twitch is unable to decide that because the rest of the team has fallen so far behind, all of your power is gone. You are no longer able to just surprise and assassinate because your opponents are so far ahead. Soaz is even going to get away from a 1v3. They did force the flash though, so you've got to give credit to Super Hot Crew, but it's come too late. They needed those picks to result in kills 10 minutes ago before Fnatic had a near 10,000 gold lead.
1v3, and now this turret going to be pushed again. There's no AD carry there. Reckless is actually pushing out the bottom lane, which also has a open... not an open inhibitor, not quite just yet. An open inner turret, let's call it. And that's surely just going to get pushed up. You see Fnatic, in typical Fnatic style, just pushing south, getting the wards down as they go, so they've got plenty of vision to see if anyone will be flanking around the side of them. There, they spot Impaler. They're going to try and nuke him down. He's going to repel here, but he's going to get stunned up if nothing else. And Yellow Star gets the mid-air kill.
That's a reverse Death Star. I'm officially coining it. If Morgana kills Elise while up in there, that's a reverse Death Star laser. It's the only way of thinking of it. 5 assists on Yellow Star. He needs 54 on the week, so it's down to 49 to hit 1,000. And Fnatic are just in absolute control. This is a near perfect game. Despite losing one tower, Super Hot Crew have been outclassed by every player of Fnatic in every move that Fnatic have done. And this is going to be a shell-shocking move for the crew.
They've only just started to recall as well from around the Baron pit here with 2 men that were out there clearing that. Fnatic were pushing up towards the inhibitor turret, deciding against it for now. And, well, they've still got 2 inner turrets to go before they maybe start trying to break the base of the Super Hot Crew. If you look there down some of the gold totals, I'm going to pick on the mid lane at first. It's 1,500 gold. 2,000, over 2,000 even, between the 2 AD carries, and just those 2 lanes alone, devastating. And then you factor in the 3,000 gold, okay, 2,300 gold. Math was never my real strong point. It's a lot of gold that Fnatic
there is.
They're going to try and get Soaz here again. He got away from a 3 versus 1 earlier. I think he fancies his chances of maybe killing one, especially now as Reckless starts to move up there. They can't deal with him.
No, they can't. And the best way to quantify the difference between Pekka and Selfie is Pekka has just got a large rod difference. 1,600 gold. Reckless sitting there with 2,000 difference. BF sword and a long sword. Additional. Right, long range, right to the arcane. Is someone dead? No.
Well, it might as well be. Impaler's going to have to back away to base. Oh! Reckless sniped him off. Well, I don't think they was going to get him there, but they do manage to. Jungler is down. Fnatic pushing in towards the inhibitor turret. Mr. Rawls is in no man's land at this stage. He needs to move back across if there's a hold on to this one. Fnatic without a jungler on the other side may even think about turning. Someone's getting a little bit caught out. Got to use his wild growth there, but Selfie will actually get the kill. Mr. Rawls being nuked as well by Reckless and Peke. Another good bubble comes in. The Super Hot Crew hold on. Good damage and a good kill.
Managed to defend. Fnatic had no minions and they were playing a little over-aggressive in that scenario. It's not over yet as Pekka is still sticking around despite the fact the rest of his team's backed away. So the reason Yellow Star, Soaz got taken out is there was just not enough minions to work with. So there was dancing around on that turret, and Super Hot Crew focused down so as even through his wild growth. So credit to them for the kill, but they defended the tower, and that's the most important thing. And now Super Hot Crew, they're split. If they do this incorrectly, it could go very wrong.
Oh, bubble coming through. They've actually landed in there on towards Peke with the cocoon, but there is the repel straight away from Impaler blasted. Here comes the ultimate once again. Gonna go towards Impaler and then pick him off. Killing spree. Kasing also very low. It's Reckless hammering away at him. And that may just be that inner turret. The Super Hot Crew coming too far out into the jungle. They're going to lose their 6th tower of the game.
Yeah, Peke just goes pew pew, I kill you. They grab another tower. A minute for Dragon. Going to continue stealing the jungle buffs away. And this is just a beautiful performance from Fnatic. From the opening minutes of the game, despite being read like a book in the first 4 minutes and having a failed tower dive in the top lane, that was truthfully the only positive play that Super Hot Crew have truly done this match. From there on out, Cyanide has roamed, he's invaded the jungle, they've had dragon control, and the Super Hot Crew have just been melted. Look at Peke, he's picked himself up a Haunting, guys. Further adding to the fact, Fnatic are looking to just continue punishing the strength that they've got, this advantage they've built up. And Super Hot Crew, they simply need Fnatic to make monumental errors to pull themselves back in here. Those hopes of placing second in the regular season are dwindling very rapidly.
Fastly fading. 25 minutes in, not even, and it's a 12,000 gold lead already for Fnatic. There's another dragon coming up in 3 seconds time, which they've timed to perfection every single time around. The Super Hot Crew have no turrets left outside of their base. Not sure how they're going to think about challenging for this. It might be one of those scenarios where a desperation Baron may come into play. And Super Hot Crew certainly need something if they're to not just bow out without really doing anything this game.
Fnatic had no vision of the Baron pit, which is why they peeled away so quickly from Dragon. And Super Hot Crew they continue, they can't team fight. So it was actually quite smart of Fnatic to play fairly safely and back away, not run the risk of losing Baron. But unfortunately, the Super Hot Crew need even more than just a Baron, maybe a Baron steal. But Fnatic shouldn't even go for the Baron bait. They've got such good siege power with Xerath. Oh, they've got Selfie.
Yeah, he's dead from this. Surely he's going to try. I was going to say Flash, but that's not up. And Cyanide will lock that kill in, and that may well just be the opening of the floodgates here as they move towards this inhibitor turret.
It has to be the inhibitor itself. Without having the shockwave combo and the fact that Mimer's not there. Mimer's arriving to the party late. He doesn't even have boots yet, so he can't even run in with Home Guard. Inhibitor's going to be down before Mimer even left the base. I think he stuck around for 10 or 15 gold to pick himself up a chain vest. And Fnatic now... Ooh, that was a bit of an odd one. Fnatic now exemplify their control by having super minions in the mid lane.
And it looks like they may be moving over towards that Baron area. We'll see if they actually bother to start that one off or whether it's just a simple get some wards down, get the vision control of it, and then back away to spend what must be some good gold. 1,300 on Peke, or was 1,200 on Cyanide before he actually picked up a Randuin's Omen now, and they are just leaps and bounds ahead of that of the Super Hot Crew. And as we said before, a team fight is not really on the cards for them. We've seen what happens as players get caught out. Selfie, who again, for the second time, was caught on his own and just nuked down by Fnatic. And we see Fnatic now moving in towards that Baron area. Yellow Star confirming there's no vision of it. Maybe we can lure them in for one final deadly kill.
And now Fnatic are playing even better than they did against the Copenhagen Wolves earlier today. If you contrast the two games, against the Wolves, while they were in the lead, they were definitely not 15,000 gold in the lead by 30 minutes. It was much closer. The Wolves put up a much more decisive fight than the Super Hot Crew are doing. And we talked about how Fnatic didn't need Baron previously to win this matchup. They can use Baron as a bait. With super minions pushing up the middle lane, Fnatic can shove out the side ends. You can see Soaz will have teleport fairly shortly. He's going to defend against Mimer, potentially shove him backwards. And if Fnatic pulls Super Hot Crew towards them, catch them unawares with Cyanide flanking. Look, Cyanide's going to play a human ward in a moment or two. That's instantly how they can win this game. So it's very smart understanding of, forcing Super Haku to make the move and punishing them for it.
And there we go, the nuke's coming in again. It's Becky that is now on a rampage. Soaz is going to get dove onto here. Underneath the turret is Selfie and Mima. He just sticks on the wild growth and says, it's Baron time for us. And that is going to be with that kill onto Impaler. There's no smite there. There's no one that can even challenge this one. Fnatic going to extend their gold lead to monumental amounts.
Hadn't killed Soaz before. Didn't do it this time. Super Haku give up the first Baron of the game. They haven't touched the dragon. They're going to get the second tower at least, so it's not a complete whitewash. I take that back. It has been. They've got a kill, Joe. All props for the kill for Fnatic sticking around. So everybody's respawned. Selfie does not have Shockwave available, and Soaz does have teleport. So if Fnatic just decide to go for a team fight, or someone's going to just TP in, they're definitely committing to this objective.
Well, let's see. You have to feel the Shockwave is where it's all going to be. That's on cooldown right now, so that needs to get up before they can even think about holding on to this turret. They've got rid of the minions right now, which makes that Shockwave come back up. And that may just be a last-ditch effort from them here as the minion wave starts to pour forward. We're going to see Reckless moving in. The turret's going to go down. Mr. Rolls with the ball on him. He's going to be a bit of a stealth bomber to come through, but they've put out Impaler once again. Cyanide gets that kill.
Ooh.
The third blast of the ultimate will chunk down Kasing. There is a Shockwave coming onto Reckless and Yellow Star, but it's not enough. Another inhibitor goes to Fnatic.
There was actually a good amount of damage there onto Reckless, but not enough to warrant the wild growth. Selfie had finally got a bit of ability power, but it is just far too little. It is far too late. Fnatic, they're going for the win.
Fnatic moving in onto this one. The Super Hot crew retreat back off onto the base, and Fnatic with that victory seal up their second position here and get a bye into the semi-finals in the playoffs.
Fantastic performance out of Fnatic. Far and away, more confident, more controlled. The only mistakes this game was being too predictable in the opening few minutes. Everywhere else from there, it's just been complete control. And as you rightly said, Joe, in the semi-finals now, guaranteed.
Yeah, and as you said, I mean, there's nothing that they've really done wrong. It was an attempt to dive, which didn't cost them much more than, I believe, 2 flashes. They then, I thought, were going to do it onto the bottom lane. Actually, what happened was, Soaz walked in there towards Dragon area. They got a kill, and they were able to then get the Dragon. They got the tower, and from then, they just moved perfectly around the map. Super Hot crew had a couple of people caught out as well. We have to say that got Fnatic rolling when it came to the kills. I mean, if you look down the scoreboard, Impaler just didn't really show anything for the Super Hot crew this game. It's hard though, and that's the comp that they had, that Peke was always somewhere around.
Yep.
Once a Dark Binding lands, those 3 charges of his ultimate are easy to land.
Impaler lived up to his name. He was impaled 6 times this game. He ate more Dark Bindings in Rites of the Arcane than I've ever seen a single player do in an LCS game. And Super Hot crew, they're going to turn their attentions to the seeding battle, because now they're solidly in that 3rd to 6th battle. There's the potential of ties for 3rd. I do want to plant a seed. Contrast how Alliance struggled against Roccat earlier today, and contrast how Fnatic beat both the Copenhagen Wolves and now the Super Hot crew. And start considering who is looking stronger for the potential playoffs. It is still 2 weeks away for them because they'll be in the semi-finals. But you need to start looking at that and seeing who is looking more in shape, who comes out of Super Week looking more threatening, and what's that going to do for picks and bans prep going forward.
And that's the interesting thing. If you not only get by a little stage further, or a huge stage further, let's be honest, into the semi-finals, you also get to sit back and relax and watch all the other quarterfinals going down and say, okay, this is how they're playing now. We can pretty much guarantee that something similar to that is going to come our way. Whoever they end up facing, they can do more research. They've got more time to practice then for those 2 opponents, and it is a huge thing to get these 2 buys.
Yeah, I completely agree. You guarantee your spot in the next year LCS. You're 1 step away from a spot of the 2014 World Championships. So it's a big deal, and considering I think Fnatic and Alliance are most likely the strong favorites, they definitely need to continue this level of performance. It was just a great game from Fnatic. Reckless dropped the ball a little bit. He needs to average 7 kills a game to break ManCloud's record and reclaim the title of most kills in a split for Europe, but he only got 3. So he's got a mere 151. He needs to hit under 68. He's got to step up his game.
However, he didn't die, which was the other record, right?
Touche. So 26 deaths in 26 games with 2 left. So props to him for that.
We'll see if he can hold on to that one. Either way, it was a textbook win there from Fnatic. And we're going to head over to Shox and Deficio now, who is standing by with Yellow Star.
Thank you very much, Joe. Congratulations, Yellow Star. Not only a 2-0 here today, but also locked in your spot in the top 2 or in the European LCS going into playoffs. Talk me through the game. Was Champion Select a sign for you guys already that you had it in the bag?
We really prepared this match. Like coming to this match, we knew that Supa Crew was a contender for the top 2. So yeah, we played it pretty seriously. We prepared every picks and bans, and everything went so smooth. And we got what we wanted to, and we kind of expected them to play their comp.
And then looking at the game, of course, everything kind of worked out for you guys. From your point of view, was it just you guys playing really well, or was it more like Supa Crew never really got going, or how did you actually see the game from your perspective?
So in the Champ Select, we saw that they picked a weaker bot lane, so we kind of expect them to lane swap, and I think they take a long time to swap around the map because they show really late, and once they got what they wanted to, we swap back, and then we were in the advantage again. So really, they couldn't do anything this game.
Well, the difference for me with the game before you won versus the Copenhagen Wolves was there. You were also ahead, but you seem to go in maybe too aggressive sometimes. In a Super Week, is that somewhere that Aranea steps in after that first game and goes, guys, we have to work on this?
We kind of played a different setup. They had a really good one against what we had. We had a full-in going setup, and they had a lot of protection with Braum, Gragas. They can throw us away and stuff. So it was not the greatest composition that we could have done.
I have to ask, however, because every single split, you are the support who buys the most wards of everyone. Nobody's even close. Are you in love with wards, or what's going on here?
Yeah, you know, I like seeing everything. Well, don't get me wrong, okay? I like to have vision around the map. I like to predict what they're going to do or where they are going. But especially it fits me well because I roam a lot on the map. And yeah, I think this is one of the reasons of why.
Yeah, the whole team actually buying so many wards. Now, you guys are going into the playoff race, semi-final at least, and the only loss the last couple of weeks was to Alliance, actually. So how do you envision it going forward in the playoffs?
Well, Alliance play, they are really solid. I mean, everyone, they know how to rotate really well. They have a big champion pool. So, yeah, you know, it's really hard to play against them.
Okay, so looking also at the teams in the quarterfinals, we have SK, it's gonna be the quarterfinals. SK Gaming, Supa Hot Crew, we have Rocket, and we have Millennium. When you look at those 4 teams, who do you think is gonna qualify for the semifinals?
Without hesitation, I would say Rocket first. And then it's gonna be a tough competition between the 3 other teams.
So why do you say Rocket?
Because today they showed that they were really good, and when they really train a lot, we know that they can pull out some really strong plays, really strong composition, and they're really coordinated. Especially I like Junkos, the way he plays, and yeah, I think this is their big point.
All right, well, you guys are headed to the semifinal, most certainly. Congratulations. All right, now let's head back over to Joe and Quickshot for an update on the standings.
Thank you very much, Shox. And after that first day of Super Week, here's where the things currently stand in the European LCS. Alliance picked up a shaky win, but a win nonetheless today, while Fnatic, we've just seen, they look dominant today. Both teams have locked in the top 2 spots, although Fnatic could still pass Alliance and steal that first position. And after their loss to Fnatic, the Supa Hot Crew remain in 3rd, while Millennium and SK are only 1 game behind and tied for 4th.
Yes, Rocket was the last European team to lock in their playoff spot. They could challenge for a better seed, but are currently at least 2 games behind the rest of the playoff teams. Meanwhile, Gambit and the Copenhagen Wolves continue to fight for 7th place, and after the Wolves failed to pick up a win today, Gambit finally snapped their losing streak. It's going to be interesting to see who takes that 7th spot later this week.
And of course, there are 6 games worth of LCS action on the slate for tomorrow, starting with Roccat versus Supa Hot Crew. Then it's Alliance versus Gambit, and Roccat will take to the Rift a second time to go up against the Copenhagen Wolves.
Then we will have SK Gaming against Alliance and Gambit squaring off against Millennium. We'll end the day with an El Clasico match between SK Gaming and Fnatic, and all of those games could determine seeding. Following tomorrow's LCS games, we will be bringing you the European Challenger Series Summer 2 Finals. Damn, that's a name. Live on our stage as the Ninjas in Pajamas fight SK Gaming Prime for the Challenger Summer Series 2 Championship in a best-of-3 match.
And that all begins tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central European Summer Time, which is, of course, 8 a.m. Pacific. Of course, with that forfeit announcement from H2K Gaming earlier, unfortunately, there's going to be no Challenger Series today. Gamers 2 will advance to 3rd place, and as Deficio already mentioned, we'll bring you the Challenger Series final match tomorrow right here on our stage. He's Quickshot, by the way, not Deficio. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the European League of Legends Championship Series.
All this LCS money can get to my head, because if I let it do that, I'll die to red.
Explosive cast forces it back in towards him. Belly's not comes down. 6 bomb comes in. Kill. And Nick gets himself the kill. Yankos just off of the side there. Good stun. Such a good stun. Down there. Good stun. That's it. Sonya's out. That's it. Dazzle's in trouble now. Using the explosive cast, but he gets picked off. Overpower has to use that chrono chip.
Welcome to the late game.
And then the Alliance comes down towards him.
I don't want to sit and let them stop us. We're going to go aggressive, we're going to go hard, we're going to hit him where it hurts, and they won't see it coming.
Soren is the only man around the side. Broken shot, passed away. Red just leaps back in, gets the reset, goes back in. Soren in trouble. He goes down. It's an 8.
Guys, whatever you're going to do, go ham.
Candy Panda going to be blown up. Here comes Freddy though from the side. It's a good knock-up. He's going to get 3 low. Oh, they're all being shafted.
Peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly time.
Is someone dead? No.
Well, it might as well be. Impaler's going to have to back away to base. Oh! Reckless sniped him off.